What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the High Tempo Sports Podcast, episode 212. Today, Easton is back in the studio. What is up?
Not a whole lot. Feels good. Good to be back.
It's been a minute. Rocking the brown hoodie, matching the chair. You love to see it for all you people on YouTube.
Just trying to blend in. Just trying to be like everybody else and blend in.
I'm rocking the Reggie Jackson Pistons jersey today, as taking me back to better times as a Pistons fan.
Yeah, and like that, those times stunk.
Exactly. Like the fact that I'm even saying that is pretty
take
unreal.
me back. I would love to see Tobias Harris back on the floor.
Hey,
take me back.
There's
man.
word on the street that Tobias Harris is a guy they might be targeting.
I saw that. I've seen that going around. Bring him back. Detroit legend.
Last time Easton was on the podcast was when we did the High Tempo Jeopardy episode. You won that, right?
Yeah, I won.
We're gonna have to do
about it too.
I'm gonna try to set up another one over this break here.
I'll still go back and listen to that episode. It is so funny.
That episode is so funny.
So funny.
Yeah, we'll have to do another episode of that over break. I did a quick fast break episode the other day talking about the current NFL playoff picture, and then a slight Pistons talk because I'm tired of talking about the Pistons. Like, that's the worst part about like
your job.
Not just that, but like about like family events this time of year.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm like the sports guy.
Yeah.
It's like, what's wrong with the Pistons? Ugh.
Like,
you know,
you want me to go on a 3-hour talking session about what's wrong? Because I could do it.
I always just revert to like, yeah, they suck. And that's it. Like, yeah, they blow. It sucks.
It's actually the worst because I go to the family events and I'm the same guy. Like, I'm the sports guy. And it's like, sometimes we just get into too many, and like there's things that people don't even know what they're talking about, and they're still talking back to me like they do.
Because most people, which totally granted, 100%, I'm not saying it's bad, aren't watching the Pistons
for sure.
They just see, oh wow, they've lost 24 straight games. Which, trust me, most people shouldn't be watching the Pistons. I still am watching the Pistons, and then I get the, why are you still watching them? I don't know, honestly. I really don't know.
I was going to say, I've quit.
And I think that's granted.
I was watching up until probably lost 18 in a row. Yep. And then it became like, this is like watching, I don't know, the worst, a train wreck? Yeah, it's like watching a train wreck. But it's a train wreck of all your favorite people in the world.
Train wreck compilation on YouTube, that low-key can be kind of fun.
Exactly, but like this is like all your favorite people getting into a train wreck. It's like I love these guys and they just stink.
Yeah, that is a great analogy right there. Yeah, and the worst part is like the game against the Hawks the other night was only the second game of the year that I haven't caught a second of. Okay. I was at MSU Oakland and I was driving back, so I didn't get to watch literally a moment of that. And Cade Cunningham has his career night dropping 43 points, which I did go back and rewatch all of Cade's buckets, he had a great game. Not a great Atlanta defense, but I mean, he was being guarded by DeJounte Murray the entire game and was babying him. I mean, it was a lot of easy buckets for Cade, which is cool to see. It's at that point for me where like I could care less about like how many games they win. Like 10 games ago, it was like, we got to break the streak. Like, it needs to end now. We need to try and salvage this season. Now it's just like, okay, we need to just hope that this doesn't deteriorate the development of our players. That's kind of where I'm at now.
Yeah, and putting together one of the worst seasons ever, I think, just like almost automatically. Like, we've never seen a team do that, and then the players are good. Like, you know what I mean? Even the Hornets, it's like, yeah, Kemba was good, but like, the Hornets never turned into anything. Do you actually think we like could put together the worst season in the NBA? Like, do you think we are going to? Not that we could. We can right now. Do you think it is going to happen?
I will be the guy that is still on the side of no. Like, I think that they will, because I think once they're like stuck in a black hole right now.
Yeah.
And I think once they get that win, I'm not saying they're going to go on some win streak, but it will be a lot easier to win games. I think that just now that the fact that they've gotten this deep in to the losing streak, that winning one game has become such a challenge that once it finally happens, which it could not.
Yeah.
You know, like
don't say that.
You know, like that's the part. It depends on how long this goes on for.
Yeah.
If this goes on for another 10 to 15
if we
games,
get to 30, like it's like
then it's like, okay, that's going to be really tough to get out of. But I think that when you do get out of it, I'm not saying they're going to go on a win streak or even win every other game, but it's like, hey, I don't see another 10-game losing streak happening is basically what I'm saying.
And that's my biggest fear right now is like we get our one win, you know, us Pistons fans all whoop it up. Let's go, man. We won a game. We can celebrate. And then like 15-gamer.
after it.
Right after.
That'd be terrible.
But like the one of the issues is there are no teams that we face that are beatable. Like it seems like every night we're going into a game and it's like, oh, Philadelphia tonight. Can't beat them. Like literally can't beat them.
But this Utah Jazz game on Thursday, this is the game. Kind of like how a couple weeks ago the Memphis Grizzlies game was the game. The Wizards game was the game. Like we have these little every other 5-ish games. It's like that's the one where it's going to happen. And this is the, it's the Jazz. Like this is they're plus 120.
Is Lowry playing right now?
They play a back-to-back. He's back from injury, yes.
Okay.
But they play a back-to-back Wednesday, Thursday, and we play Thursday. So I assume Lowry will play one or the other.
Yeah.
So it depends on which. If they're smart, they'll play him against Detroit because you don't want to be the team that Detroit snaps their
that's
streak
the issue.
on.
That is now. That's like the other half of the issue that people aren't talking about enough.
That's a great point.
Nobody wants to be the team that loses to the Pistons, so they have like a reverse target.
Yeah, like usually when you're playing a team like the Pistons, you're like, we can play it cool tonight. Like we should be able to get a dub. And then sometimes you play a little bit too nonchalant and a bad team wins.
Yep.
But like you said, when they're on a historic losing streak, you don't want to be the squad that they broke it on.
Yes.
Like
and
it's like when the Warriors were on that huge win streak, and it was like every night we want to be the team that breaks the losing streak. It's opposite, but it's still just as much.
Yep. They bring it extra to not lose to the Pistons.
Yes.
Like I know that the Hawks were like sweating going into the fourth quarter. Like they were like, shoot, guys, we cannot be the team that loses.
This game was a little bit opposite of. Because most of the Pistons games, obviously there's been the few in the last several with like Philly and Milwaukee where they're just down by 30 like instantly. But a lot of, I would say out of the 24-game losing streak, at least 15 of them, they're within 5 points heading into the fourth quarter.
Definitely.
Or have the lead.
Yeah.
Like most of these games are fourth quarter blown losses, which makes it even worse because I watched 3 quarters of like kind of fun basketball. And then it's like, I know it's going to break down at the end, and it always does. So that's like the most frustrating part. But this Atlanta game, they were down by like 10 going into the fourth, and they like had a resurgence in the fourth quarter and started coming back and almost won. And they didn't, obviously. But you can bet right now on DraftKings on what game the Pistons will break their streak on.
That's awesome. Great job, DraftKings. Glad you can
pick literally any game.
Any game. Just be like, yeah, this one.
And they all have crazy odds, obviously, because it's just it's quite random. But the Jazz one, Thursday, plus 120.
Let's go.
What are they saying?
They're saying it might happen.
They're saying it's just a little bit less than likely of happening.
Yep.
So I'm super excited for that.
This 22-game losing streak have made me look at the individual players much differently. I used to look at Jalen Duren and I went, wow, that's Dwight Howard. Now I see Jalen Duren and I think, is this just Clint Capella?
Oh. Okay, the thing with Duren, though, he hasn't played healthy like since those first few games of the year.
He ain't been healthy.
But I agree that we can't view Duren as high as we did a few months ago. I agree.
After the first 6 games.
Yes. like he is like Asar is the second best prospect on the Pistons.
For sure.
Yes.
And even with Asar, I get nervous. I
mean obviously, yeah.
But I go, man, like Matisse Thybulle?
No.
You go, okay,
no way.
So you go to the Thunder guy. Who's the Thunder guy?
Lou Dort?
No. Before Lou Dort. The guy he played with like the Paul George, could not shoot and just played defense.
Andre Roberson?
I'm not saying it's there, but Asar.
Is that what you're talking about? That's crazy.
But what I'm telling you, and this is what the 22-game losing streak does to you.
Yes.
You look at Asar and you go, huh, maybe he is just an athletic wing who can't shoot and will never be anything more than an athletic wing who can't shoot. And those guys just don't stick around on winning teams. Like you figure out very quickly, like
they do it for a while, and then it's like,
it really doesn't.
Does
work.
It actually? Is this hurting us more than the defense helps us?
Yes, and it's like what's going on with the whole thing. It's like I just don't even know if I'm looking at the same guys anymore of what I used to think of these players.
Yes, and I think Asar, it's a little bit different than those other guys. I think he brings a lot more to the table than those specific like defense only type guys brought. But yeah, it's just been a rough go for the Pistons. But like I said, I'm still going to watch. I was happy to see Cade have that game because in the Milwaukee game previously, that was the first game all year really where I've seen Cade like get broken by this. Like his energy and motor was defeated. Like he gave up. And that was when it was really like, okay, Like I was kind of just be like, whatever, we're still losing. But like when I see that, it's like, okay, something needs to happen. When I see Cade, the franchise guy, who everyone's trying to put the blame on him for the losing streak, when he finally is like, you can tell that it's getting to him, like, okay, something needs to happen. So I'm happy that he got out of that and had a huge game the other night because that was nice to see. But even in the post-game presser, like Johnny Kane was like trying to like hype him up, and he was like, career night tonight, man. Like how do you feel like after that? And he was just like, we lost. Like,
oh man,
I don't care.
Dude.
Like, we lost. Like, he literally did not care about that. He had his career game.
It's just so different than when he first got to Detroit. I just remember the hype, the like literal about him being in Detroit and him wanting to be there. And you worry that after a guy like Cade comes there, wants to be there, and then he's here for 2 years and goes, I was wrong.
How can that not happen? Like, how could you blame Cade Cunningham if he comes out and is the first, not star, it's hard to describe how you view Cade Cunningham, I guess, but like if he doesn't want to sign the rookie extension, that comes this offseason. He's eligible for the rookie extension, and then next year, if he doesn't sign it, he goes into a contract year where he'll become a restricted free agent. If he declines the rookie extension and then, goes into restricted free agency, I assume the Pistons would match anything. But if he doesn't sign the rookie extension, then I assume it means he doesn't want to be here. How can you not blame him?
How can you not? I mean, would you want to be somewhere where we lose 22 straight and there's questions everywhere about everybody, and then all of a sudden the blame gets put on you and you're like the only good player? Like it's like, why would I be here? They don't care about me.
And like another part that just really bothers me is like the Bojan Bogdanovic thing. I understand the theory in trading him. Like, he's one of the only valuable guys on the team. You might as well trade him, especially if you're trying to get a guy that's like better than him, I guess, because he has a good, like a $20 million contract.
Yep.
He is like one of our only good players and one of our only shooters. Like, if we want to win.
Yeah, that's the idea of trading Bojan.
Like,
the idea is winning.
If you are trading him, it's got to be for someone better. You're not trading Bojan for a pick. Like, I get that we suck, but we're not at that point in the rebuild anymore where it's like we need to accumulate picks. No, we need to get guys that can help us win.
Yeah, move the youth forward, what the Rockets did. And you know what? I call them the Rockets. Rockets youth looks awesome right now.
Yeah, with Jalen Green like not being good this year.
Yeah,
it doesn't really matter. Like they have other plans. Other guys.
The pressure isn't even there for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Jalen Green doesn't have to go out every day thinking about what does everybody think about me. Like, we're not even focused on you right now, Jalen. We're focused on the team.
We're focused on how good Şengün is and how good the vets have been for them. And like
there's no hiding in Detroit right now. Nobody can hide and just go under the radar and have a bad year.
They've had this is the most national media the Pistons have had. Maybe since I've been a Pistons fan.
Probably since Blake was...
Maybe, yeah.
Blake
definitely.
was getting the trade market.
And, like, it's for not good reasons. They're on House of Highlights and NBA on ESPN on Instagram and stuff every night. That, like, the Pistons losing streak continues. And it's just pictures of them, like, on the bench, just, like, depressed. It's just, like...
The worst part is we used to pray for times like this. There were times where we were the 8 seed, and me and you were sitting here, and we would
wait till the rebuild.
Wait till we have 2 wins through 25 games. But we didn't expect it after we had the number 1 overall pick. Like, after we had great drafts, whatever that means, because you got to win to have great drafts.
It's a difficult conversation. I think Troy Weaver has been a good... Like, he has made good draft picks, especially for, like, the draft spots and everything. Like, he has drafted guys better than their value.
Definitely. Oh, 1,000%.
But they don't work together.
No.
It's really weird. Yeah, I mean, this throws us into our topic of the day, but if you would have told me in the summer of 2020 that, hey, in 3.5 years from now, it's going to be worse... What?
Wow.
Like that.
We just got Cade.
That's where I was at. We didn't even get Cade. We just got Killian. So we haven't even mentioned, we just talked about the Pistons for 15 minutes. We haven't even mentioned what we're even doing today. So if you are an OG listener of the High Tempo podcast, during COVID, obviously not a lot was going on. We took like a month break of podcasting at the beginning of COVID, and then we hopped back into it in May. And we did this episode in either May or June of 2020. I believe it was in June of 2020. But there wasn't a lot to talk about. The NBA bubble was still in talks. The bubble hadn't been started yet. And so we were just thinking of creative podcasts to do, and we could go back and revisit a lot of these. But we reacted to the Bleacher Report's article of top 20 in 2020 that they made in 2015.
Yes.
And so we reacted to that and saw, made fun of them for, such bad lists. And we said, let's do a little bit of our own. Let's do a top 25 in 2025. Now, obviously, right now, it's 2023. So
no, we're not
jumping the gun a little bit here. But, it's going to be 2024 next.
And then we're a year
and then,
away.
Basically, it's 2025.
Because, it's a half season of 2025 will be in 2024.
Right, exactly.
It's we're already there.
And it's more of just who knows where we're going to be in a year from now anyways. Who knows if we'll ever even be able to react to this.
Yeah.
So I kind of just want to do it now.
In terms of what? Are you thinking of World War III?
No, I'm just saying,
the political...
Maybe I am saying that. Who knows? Who knows what happens? So we might as well react to this now. So that's what we're going to be doing. And then we're going to, now that we have some knowledge on, how to predict the future a little bit,
yeah.
We are doing our top 28 in 2028 NBA players, which is a very difficult list to do.
Well, not with the power of time machines, recent scientific discoveries of AI and time machines.
Yeah, after looking into it, Pistons fans, it doesn't get better.
Yeah, we just find a new team.
Yeah.
Be a Thunder fan. Wink, wink.
Yeah, definitely.
Got some good ideas.
I don't think that's too bold of a prediction from you. So is there anything else we need to talk about before we get into this list, like Lions fantasy?
No, I am in love with the Lions, man. And you know what? I love being the person who gets to stand by them even when they're playing bad. I love being the guy who's like, you know who else has played bad recently? The Eagles.
Yeah.
You know who else played bad this year? The 49ers. Do you think this Lions team is perfect and better than those teams? Because if you do, you're crazy.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then they can go on a skid where they play bad.
Every NFL team has skids.
Skid marks are everywhere. You got to clean your underwear.
Yeah, exactly. It's been I talked about the Lions a little bit yesterday, and it's just it's okay to be realistic about the Lions with your outlook. It's okay for you to think that they're not on the same tier as the 49ers and the Eagles and the Cowboys, because I don't think they are.
Me too.
But also, let's not act like this isn't the best Lions season that we've ever seen.
Yes.
That you and I have ever seen. They're gonna win the freaking division.
Yep.
That's awesome. They're gonna host a playoff game in Ford Field. When's that been done? Never.
There are 3 games left in the season, and there is a chance that the Lions are the 1 seed.
Yes.
When has that ever happened? I've never been a Lions fan where we could be the 1 seed going into week 3 games left in the year.
The last several years, it's been we should probably lose these games so we could get a better pick, right? And then now that's except for last year. Obviously, last year was a little bit different, but yeah, now we're in it's a different time here in Detroit, and the Jared Goff conversation. That's a whole conversation for another. Actually, let's talk about it. Where are you at with Jared Goff? Because obviously, he's going into a contract year. Next year will be his final year on his contract. Most of the time, quarterbacks receive a contract in the offseason prior to their final deal or final year of their contract. A lot of fans are out on Jared Goff. They don't think he has the ceiling to take us to a Super Bowl compared to a lot of other quarterbacks with his immobility and his lack of turning the ball over, because that was his thing for the longest time, and then he started doing it. Obviously, he responded to all the haters the other night and threw 5 tutties. So
it was awesome.
What do you feel about that? Do you think the Lions got to put in Hendon Hooker?
Yeah. Yeah, you sound like my dad.
I hate that take.
You sound like my dad.
Hate it.
We were in the 4th quarter of the Bears game that we came back and won. And he's like, why don't we have the backup in? Jared Goff's played terrible this game. It's like, that's not really how it works.
Yeah, he hasn't played all year.
It's this, and the idea is that's somebody who watched a lot of high school sports. You would do that in a high school game because the backup probably deserves a shot. In the NFL, you know who the frickin' starter is. Everybody knows. Hendon Hooker is not the starter. And he's hurt. We don't intend on him playing.
If Hendon Hooker was healthy, never got hurt in college, and somehow the Lions still got him or whatever. Week 1, we start Hendon Hooker the whole season. The Lions are not in the playoffs right now.
No, 1,000% no.
Let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah.
Now, yes, is Hendon Hooker probably better at getting J-Mo on a 9 route touchdowns?
1,000%.
Yes. Everything else, though, and he's more mobile. I get that part of it. But all the in-between stuff, is why we have Jared Goff as the quarterback.
Yeah, my only real, and I would love to move on from Jared Goff eventually. I don't think it's a must, but I think we got to wait for the right opportunity. I don't just want to move on because we have to move on because he can't win a Super Bowl. You know, I want to move on to somebody that we believe in, and I do believe, like, what's going on in LA? What's going on with them Chargers, man? I mean, is Justin Herbert going to want out eventually?
That's like the dream.
That's
the
the
problem
dream.
is the NFL is not the NBA, and you just like don't really be seeing like huge trades like that where like guys ask quarterbacks. I mean, you do see it with wide receivers and stuff a lot, but there's not a lot of times where a quarterback, especially as young as he is, that just like asks out and it just like happens. Mm-hmm. But that would be
that's the pipe dream.
Yes, that's something that Ben Johnson, if that happens, he doesn't leave type of situation, you know.
For sure. But I do believe like I think Jared Goff more than anything would be fine if when the run game wasn't working, he was a little more apt to air it out. Cuz like he does miss J-Mo on some routes.
Yeah,
he misses J-Mo often out of 9, and it's like I wish he was a little more ready, and that was what he wanted to go to more often. But now when the run game is working, screw that. We don't even need to look that way. Like, don't even look that far down the field.
Yeah.
Because we just need to run the damn ball. Mm-hmm. And that's often with this Lions team. So I think it's hard to switch gears into, okay, run game's not working. This is now my game that I have to dominate, and I can do it by extending the play long. He rarely does that, and that's my only complaint with Jared Goff. Other than that, I freaking love him. His fumbling issue, his immobility, his
emo.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
his inability to be mobile is like awful to watch. It's like Big Bad as last year.
He is a tree back there.
A tree. That's
he
so
is
funny.
like.
Yeah. He plants his feet, and
there's
not
not a lot of guys like that in the NFL anymore.
No,
like it's definitely changed.
Like, you look at Joe Burrow extends plays. Like,
Joe Burrow's great extending,
but
plays.
like he's a pocket passer.
Yeah,
like, he's the picturesque probably him and Justin Herbert.
Right,
I would say are the pocket passers right now in the league. They use their legs all the time. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't have any. I'm not ready to move on from Jared
Me either.
Goff. And I think if the opportunity arises, we could do it.
And I also I saw this stat. I think that Jared Goff is just if the game has to work in his favor. In games where we have had all 5 starting offensive linemen, they are like 9-0 or something. Or no. It was games that they've had the healthy O-line and they have gotten the ball first. They are like way better in. So they set the tone. Obviously, we know Jared Goff plays. He plays well indoors. Like
and
he's
in
not
California.
He's not a cold weather guy.
Yep.
We play a playoff game in Philly, we're losing.
Yep.
Like I talked about that on the podcast yesterday. Like they're never going to win a playoff game in Philly. It's just not going to happen. So, but I also feel like there is not that many elite quarterbacks in the NFL right now. Like there's not many realistic improvements of Jared Goff right now. And I get that if you don't think he's the franchise quarterback, that's fair. But I legit do think there might be 6 or 7 elite quarterbacks in the NFL. And then after that, there's like a handful of like solid guys. And then there's at least half the league are just like, eh.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. Like Jared Goff's top 12. No question about it.
Yeah, but like he might not be. Like I really don't. I mean, he might be. Like I really don't know. But I don't think it doesn't matter because he's not in that elite
that big of a
group.
gap.
Exactly.
There's not a huge gap between the
So
rest
if
of them.
you don't think Jared Goff is the guy, that's fine. But what is the solution? Because it's not putting in Hendon Hooker. Like I'm not saying I don't believe in Hendon Hooker, but like that's not the solution. And that's what a lot of Lions fans want to believe, and it's frustrating to hear that because how many times does the 3rd round old injured quarterback come in and just is the franchise guy?
As a rookie.
Dak Prescott is the only answer to that question.
Yep.
Doesn't happen.
It's hilarious to hear that because, like, I remember when we drafted Hendon Hooker, it was like, perfect. He doesn't have to play all year. And then people are, like, complaining. It's like, if Hendon Hooker is good enough, we will know at the start of next year.
Yeah.
We will know in this offseason and hopefully Ben Johnson stays for one more year.
Probably not.
Damn, that really sucks.
Probably not.
Chargers,
are getting Harbaugh or Ben Johnson. They're getting one of those 2 guys.
Like Jim Harbaugh?
Yeah.
He's not leaving.
But, like, if he is leaving, it's for Chargers.
Definitely, for sure. But, like, and that's where, so, like, if I will trust Hendon Hooker when the coaching staff trusts Hendon Hooker.
And also, Teddy Bridgewater's the backup. Like, if Goff gets hurt, they're not putting in Hendon Hooker. No. They're putting in Teddy B. Like, he gives them the best chance to win a game.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It just is what it is. Like, and it's a bit frustrating. But yeah, as far as like, do I want to give Goff $50 million? I understand the argument to say no. You know, like I get that. So
do you think he asks for that?
That's what I don't know. But like,
there's no way he thinks he's a $50 million.
But like Daniel Jones got 40 M's last year, and that's the issue because I think a lot of it, the future of Jared Goff on the Lions really relies on this year's playoffs.
Definitely.
If he wins them a playoff game, I think they're forced to pay him.
Yep.
But guess what happened last year? The Giants won a playoff game and gave Daniel Jones the ultimate Duffy, and they're screwed for the next 4 years while that contract is
like literally they're better off starting Tommy. Or
probably
Tommy DeVito
like they're screwed for this next 4 years. Their whole future is, and it's scary to think. Now I think we just have a lot better pieces than they do anyways. Like it's not the same situation, but it's a scary thought, you know, to see that happen to another team and think, wow, like that could legitimately happen to us.
Absolutely.
Who knows?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Real quick, did you already bet on the Chargers for next week? You take the money line?
No, why? Oh, with the interim head coach.
Yeah.
They're playing the Bills though.
But like, doesn't really matter.
Dude, they got some dude named like JoJo as their interim head. They got some dude named JoJo, and then their interim GM, or maybe JoJo's the GM, is another name that just doesn't exist. And somebody quoted was like, "This franchise is so unserious. Look at the dudes they just hired." Yeah, I'm not doing that though. Like maybe if it was against like a worse team, but I don't know. You lose by 40 to the Raiders.
42.
I don't think the interim thing, the interim like curse,
applies to you.
Not the curse, the reverse curse, that doesn't happen.
It doesn't apply to you anymore.
No.
You've lost that privilege.
Okay, so like I said, we are going to be reacting to our top 25 in 2025 and then doing our top 28 in 2028. So let's get right into it. First, we're going to name the honorable mentions from each of our lists. Like I said, we did this list in 2020 June to give some perspective. In that podcast episode, which don't go listen to it. Like it's not a good episode. It's not like it's hard to hear. We don't really like it. It's just not. I don't really enjoy listening to it. But I've also never been a person that enjoys listening to my own voice. So
yeah,
that applies to it as well. But to give some context, we were just talking about Jeff Okudah being drafted by the Detroit Lions. Jeff Okudah is a year removed from being on the Lions, which is pretty crazy. We were talking about us potentially getting LaMelo Ball in the NBA draft. Like, this is like Matt Stafford still had a whole full year of Lions play after this podcast. So it's only been 3.5 years, but it feels like way longer.
So much happens in sports on a year-to-year basis. You don't even realize it because you adjust to the change so fast.
Yes.
Like Dame on the Bucks. It's not a big deal anymore, and it should be. Like, that should still be a humongous deal.
It really should be,
But nobody really, like, it's like, oh, yeah, Dame and Giannis have one of the best pick and rolls in the NBA. It's like, yeah, they traded this summer. But, like, that was a 12, like, not a 12. That was like a 10-year Portland Trailblazers career.
Yeah.
It's just now gone in his past, and he's elsewhere. But we just move on so quickly.
And we're going to kind of forget about it, yeah. Okay, so let's move into the honorable mentions. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 honorable mentions. And I talked about I had 48 names, but I cut my honorable mentions to 8. So here are your 9 honorable mentions, and then we'll go over mine. Dame Lillard, honorable mention. Okay, let's actually, when I say these, yes or no, he'll be top 25 in 2025.
Okay.
Like, just so, like, was this right or not? Damian Lillard, honorable mention.
No.
I would say he's going to be top 25 in 2025.
Yeah, he will be, yes.
Okay, that's what I was saying.
No, I was wrong on the
okay.
list.
Say yes to yes, he will be.
Yes, got it.
Bradley Beal. No, probably won't be top 25 in 2025. But these are honorable mentions, so. Shea.
Yep.
Yes. DeJounte Murray. No. De'Aaron Fox. Probably.
Yeah.
He's like in that range of like 20-ish, so I would say probably yes. Yeah. Anthony Edwards. Yeah. Chet Holmgren.
These are wow. Yeah, he will be.
In 2025, that's a year from now. He's only going to be in year 2. Like, I think probably yes, but it is like it's early.
Probably no.
Say it's early.
We'd probably be jumping the gun if we had him top 25.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
I'd be
but that's a
comfortable
good
with
pull. I mean, Chet Holmgren was a high schooler.
That is pretty crazy.
And then Kevin Durant. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
will still be. So not bad on the honorable mentions. It gets much worse. Here are my honorable
because there are a
mentions.
lot of guys there who are like going to be top 15.
My honorable mentions are a lot worse than yours. I will say that. Like, I'm happy they weren't on the list. Jonathan Isaac.
No.
No. Christian Wood. This is when Christian Wood was a Piston, by the way.
Oh, and he was like 18 a game.
Yeah.
Just a monster.
And we were like, if they don't re-sign Christian Wood, they're dumb.
Then we left, and it was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, and then we got Jeremy Grant. Jonathan Kuminga. No. DeAndre Ayton.
No.
Michael Porter Jr.
DeAndre.
No.
No, probably not.
Jaren Jackson Jr. Still probably no, but
Probably
like
no.
it's not a bad one. Also have Dame on here, who we mentioned. Jaylen Brown, I would say yes. Like right now, he's top 25.
Yeah.
He might not be by then. He probably.
It's so close. Like he's one of those guys that it's year to year.
Yeah, it definitely.
Whether or not
is year
he's
to
top
year with
25
him. For sure. It definitely is.
He's just one of those players. He's not polarized.
And then Joel Embiid did not make my top 25 or my honorable, or he was on my honorable mentions.
Yeah, he'll probably be top 25.
Which I will say.
I don't know. Did I have
He was
Embiid?
not on your top 25 or honorable mentions. I do specifically remember that.
2020, what was JoJo doing? Like, what was Joel
The Sixers
Embiid?
were good still. Like, that was like they were good. Like, Joel Embiid was good.
Was 2020 the... Oh, that would have been
2020 was
year.
bubble year. They
So
got
it would've
bounced
been
by
the
the
year
Celtics
before,
in the first
or
round.
the year after.
The Raptors bounce.
Okay.
Yes. And Embiid was like still
Embiid
a
was
star.
good. Yeah. Why did I do that? But I was definitely on the Ben Simmons train in 2020.
And that's what you will find out with this list. All right, let's get into it. Number 25. My number 25 was De'Aaron Fox, who I think that's an accurate guess. Like, he's going to be right in there. He was an honorable mention for you. Your number 25 was James Wiseman of the Detroit Pistons, who at this moment in time was an NBA draft prospect. We were heading right into the 2020 draft, so we were trying to pick out the names here. I did not include James Wiseman on my list, and I would say it's safe to say that he won't be in the top 25.
Yep, could be, though. A lot of growth in this next year.
Nope. Shouldn't be on an NBA roster by 2025.
Yeah, he's pretty terrible.
My number 24 was LaMelo Ball.
Nice.
I think that's a good spot for LaMelo. I think he could be right in that range. Probably
he
not.
Could probably be higher. He'd probably be higher in 2025.
Could be. They'd have to get some of
them older guards like Curry.
They'd have to get some dubs in there for sure.
Definitely.
Start winning some games. Your number 24 was Jaren, which I think it's not like he probably isn't this high.
Yep.
And probably won't be this high, but it's not bad.
Yeah,
he's top
fair.
40, 50 player, for sure.
Yeah.
My number 23 was Shea. Low, but
yeah.
For sure top 25. Your number 23 was LeBron, which
in a year? That might nail it,
That
dude.
might nail it.
That might nail it.
I don't know,
he's
dude.
Still
LeBron
like
probably
top
never's
10.
topped out of top 20.
He's still top 10.
We got to have a conversation about LeBron, actually.
We will.
I didn't have LeBron on my top 25 on this, like on the top 25 and 2025 list, which is crazy because I thought he would be out of the league.
Which is a normal thought. He is 40.
It's a normal thought, but also it's not. It really isn't, though, because right now I really don't see a world where LeBron leaves the NBA, like where LeBron like falls off. Like he's gonna leave the league on the top of the league still. Obviously not as a top 5 player, maybe not even top 10 player.
He'll be a star.
But like he's still one of the better players in the NBA right now, and I don't see that changing.
So in our list that we're gonna do today,
he's not on.
I sat there and I debated though. It's like because he was 36 when why can't he play until he's 44? He has not showed a sign. He's gotten better. This
Obviously,
is his best season since Miami in 2013.
He doesn't have the burst, obviously, like he used to have. But he still is just stronger than everyone.
And then you look at guys and it's like, is the burst necessary? Like Luka don't have a burst.
Yeah.
Like he balls.
And LeBron can still shoot. He's not a good help defender. I think that is
he's terrible.
He just kind of watches. But that's expected. He's turning 39 in a week actually. So he's still not a bad one-on-one on-ball defender.
Yeah, he's not terrible.
His help defense is not great. But like other than that, like he's shooting the ball from 3 well this year too, which clearly helps him. So yeah, it's kind of crazy I didn't have him on this to think he would be out of the league because at this point I don't know when he's going to be out of the league.
You can't predict that. He's unpredictable.
No, you really can't at all. So my number 22 was Bam Adebayo.
Fair.
Not bad. Like, he's definitely in the range of top 25.
Yeah, I'd say you nailed that.
You're number 22, Cade Cunningham.
No.
I mean, like, as much as I want to sit here and be like, in a year he might be, like, no. It's just not true.
22.
He'll be 22.
Yeah.
23. So, but I mean, it's not like terrible. Like, hopefully he's on the cusp of that. I don't think it's his fault. God, you know how terrible it's going to be to see Cade win a championship on the Brooklyn Nets?
Stop it. Why did you have to say it like that? And the Nets?
I was just picking a random team.
Oh, it'll be hard when Cade leaves because Cade was the first guy. No, Josh Jackson was the first guy.
Jackson?
I was like, this is the future.
Like when he was on the Suns?
No, yeah, I guess that's a bad comparison because that is right. But Cade was like, I'm for sure Cade was going to be the best player in the NBA.
Oh yeah, for sure. I definitely was on that.
It's just sad.
And it's hard to admit that I was wrong. You know. So I just did your 22. My 21 was Cade Cunningham, which also Cade Cunningham wasn't on the Pistons. Like, we were talking about Cade on this. Yeah, no, he wasn't even. He was in high school when we did this. So, like, we were just sitting here like he was going into his freshman year at Oklahoma State. So we were talking about him like, Cade Cunningham, like, he's pretty good. Like, but our guy was LaMelo because we wanted LaMelo in the draft, obviously. And the lottery hadn't happened yet. Okay, your number 21 was Donovan Mitchell. Nailed that one. I mean, he's probably a bit higher, but, like, pretty close. Like, that is a great pick. My number 20 was Steph Curry. Pretty low for Steph.
Pretty low.
And we talked about this on that podcast because you have Steph a much higher than I do. And I just kind of thought that he might be a little bit fallen off, which it's still a year from now, but, like, I don't think that's
happening. Everybody else did. He's good. Like, the rest of the team is like, they fell off a cliff.
Everybody else fell off, for sure. Your number 20 was Devin Booker. Low, but like
at least he's there.
He's there, exactly. Yep. My number 19 was Bradley Beal. No, not there at all, and especially in a year from now. What's that back going to be like for Bradley?
Yeah, what's his back like?
I'm saying, bro, he's got them back problems. Like, that is not something you want in your early 30s.
No,
as an NBA player, not in general terms of life. Well, I guess that's definitely still not something you want in your early 30s in general.
You just hope that since you're not in the NBA, you don't get those problems.
Feels so bad for Beal, man. He had the back issues, and then the first game of the Big Three play, and he rolls his ankle on the 3-point and one. Oh, it's just, I feel really bad for him. I think you had Beal on here too.
I had Beal as an honorable mention.
Oh yes, you did. Yep. Okay, your number 19 was Zach LaVine, and you talked about how you were very high on Zach LaVine going forward. You've always been the Zach LaVine guy.
I'm a Zach LaVine. Like, even now, we still have conversations about who I think Zach LaVine can be. Like, the other day, we were talking about him on the Pacers. Remember? I was like, I think he's 30 points per game if he plays for the Pacers.
He definitely could be.
I still believe
but
that.
Not top 20 in the NBA
no,
year.
Hell no.
My number 18 was a guy that we talked about pre-show, Amani Bates. Was my number 18, and the way we talked about Amani Bates on this podcast was crazy. We were definitely hyping him up
glazing
quite a bit, glazing a little bit. This is when he was still at Ipsy or Lincoln, right?
Yeah, Lincoln.
Yeah,
Lincoln.
And he just came off of winning the state championship as a freshman there. Like, that was a fun
Mr.
time.
Mr.
Basketball, won Gatorade Player of the Year the following year. Obviously, a lot changed with Amani Bates in the time from then to now, with a lot of non-basketball related things. Still has a chance in the NBA to be a player. He's been really good in the G League this year. You have Amani Bates much higher than I do. So in 2025, it will be his, I mean, if we're saying like a year from now, 2025, it'll be his second season in the NBA. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with Amani, but definitely not a top 20 player in the league. Your number 18, James Harden. I would say no, right?
I'd say no.
Like, Harden's not top 25 right now,
no,
I don't think.
No.
And especially in a year from now, I would say no. I did not have James Harden on my list, so I kind of must have predicted the fall off a little bit sooner. My number 17 was Donovan Mitchell. We already kind of talked about that. Same thing with you, right in this range for sure. Your number 17, a guy that I didn't have, Kristaps Porzingis.
Wow, Tingus Pingus.
You must have saw because Tingus Pingus would have been a Maverick at this time. Yep. So you must have saw the light at the end of the tunnel. Because he was never really good on the Mavericks. That whole situation never really worked out. But you must have envisioned
I saw
it
the
working
fall
out.
off and the rise back in Washington. And now he's like, now he definitely is, right?
Top 25?
Like right now.
Like if we're saying just this season,
year,
then yes. But as far as just like
Next
top
year.
25 players in general, I don't know.
Yeah, me either.
He's definitely having a good year. But also like it doesn't, I don't know. I don't change the way I view Porzingis a lot right now because he was this good on Washington last year.
Oh, he was. Yeah, definitely.
And
That's
it
a good
just
point.
kind of doesn't get, now that he's in Boston, it just kind of gets
Amplified.
talked about. But yeah, like he definitely he's in the range. Like who's better, him or Jaren right now? That's kind of a debate. And we talked about Jaren not being top 25.
Yeah,
so,
good point.
But yeah, I don't think Porzingis is quite as high as 17.
That's very true.
Number 16 for you was his teammate, Jaylen Brown. I discussed him. Did I have him earlier? Didn't we talk about him? Oh, I guess we didn't talk about him.
We talked about him being, I don't know how we talked about him, but we did. We talked about him being a year-to-year player.
Oh, yeah, that was right. I didn't have Jaylen Brown on my list. Oh, no, he was on my honorable mentions.
Got it.
You had him at 16. I think that's a pretty fair spot. Like you
could
said,
be there.
He's like this past year, a year ago, he was right in this spot range. Who knows what'll happen by the end of this year? My number 16 was Brandon Ingram. Probably not this high.
No, but he probably could be top 25.
Yes, like it's not terrible, but not quite this high. Into the top 15. My number 15 was Jalen Green, the only other high school guy at the time that I had on my list. You did not include Jalen Green on your list, but you said that was a guy that I remember. You said that was a guy that you wanted to include, but didn't. You just forgot about it.
Oh, good on me for forgetting.
Yeah,
it helped one time.
Yeah, it did help because Jalen Green will not be top 15 a year from now. Unfortunately, he's not having the greatest third year in his career. Your number 15 was LaMelo Ball, which for sure he could be. He's right now he's not, but a year from now definitely could be in that top 15. My number 14 was Pascal Siakam.
Nice.
Don't think he's quite that high.
Not that high, but he's a year-to-year guy.
He's a year-to-year guy, and
he
potentially could be on a new team next year, so maybe that will help. Definitely, I don't think he ever peaks this high though. Like I don't really see a world where he peaks.
Do you think
in the top 20?
Not right now, but I think he did peak top 20.
I think like at the time we recorded this, he was coming off of being most improved player, being a champion, and then Kawhi had moved around, and we were kind of both. I'll just say right now, you have Siakam higher than I do.
Yeah.
Like we both thought that he was going to be the next step, and he kind of did, but like not as good as we figured.
Just not like a leader guy.
He can be number one guy.
Yeah.
Which he could be a great number two potentially if he gets moved somewhere or something.
For real. I'd love to see. He's the guy I want to see move the most because I don't know what he looks like anywhere else.
Right.
Does he? I mean, what if he's? I think of a guy who instantly left and was terrible, Montrezl Harrell. How he just moved on. It was like, oh, this guy's actually bad. He was in a great system where they used him really well.
Which I will say, obviously Siakam is a lot better than Montrez. But yes,
he could fall in 12 points a game type guy.
Siakam?
I think he
You
could.
think so?
Yeah, I think.
I don't know about that.
I think if he left and went to I think he could.
Maybe.
Especially if you went to a team to be a third option type deal.
He could.
I don't know how many teams he's the third option on.
I've been seeing a lot of people mock him to Brooklyn at the trade deadline. With like a package of one of their, like a Derek Whitehead, and then they have contracts like Finney Smith and Royce O'Neal, and then some
That'd be
picks.
fun. That'd be a fun team.
Little lineup of Dinwiddie, Bridges, Johnson,
just exactly
Siakam.
What the Raptors would want to do. Let's just switch franchises.
Huge guys, yeah. I guess they have Cam Thomas. Yeah, how would they do that? That'd be interesting to see how.
You got to start Cam Thomas if you're getting spicy.
But who you starting? Who you benching? Cam Johnson? You can't bench him.
Oh, you can't bench him though.
He's making 27 M's. You can't bench Bridges.
You got to trade Cam Johnson.
You're not starting Cam Thomas at the 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, just trade. Yeah, just do that probably.
Just give him to us. We'll be fine.
Okay, so Siakam was my number 14. Your number 14 was Kawhi Leonard. I think it's definitely a fair spot, especially a year from now from Kawhi.
Yeah.
To be here. Kawhi was at my number 12, so I'll just get that out of the way. My number 13 was Devin Booker. I think still potentially a little bit low, but he's, top 10 guy right now, so it's pretty close. Your number 13 was Steph Curry. So you had him a lot higher than I did. I think that a year from now, 13 might be in play, but I don't know. I don't really see him falling out of top 10.
Might be a little low.
Yeah, I don't really see him falling out of top 10. Your number 12 was where you had Pascal Siakam, and my number 12 was Kawhi Leonard. Number 11 was Emoni Bates for you.
Oh, my God.
Pretty unreal, Emoni Bates, 11th best player in the NBA.
Did you react Like, were you like, huh?
No, I like kind of knew that he was going to be on there.
Damn, you were being nice that podcast.
But it's just so funny because like I had Amani like 18 and you were like, that's so low.
Dude, he could play in the league right now.
Yeah. Oh, we were
That's
saying
what they
that.
say, dude.
That was when I just like didn't really do my own evaluation. Kind of just like other people are saying it, so I'm about it. Yeah.
Yep.
Karl Anthony Towns was my number 11. Which, you know, this was a time where there's that famous like GM poll where they say if you could start the league right now, who would you take? And the number one guy was Karl Anthony Towns. This was right in that time. I'll say it. Your Karl Anthony Towns was number 9 for you.
Cool.
So we were both right in that range. He's definitely not a top 10 player. He's probably not a top 25 player.
Yeah.
But he's brink top 25 and could be it in a year from now. But we definitely
not that high.
Definitely missed a little bit on Cat. Moving into the top 10, my number 10 was Kevin Durant. I think that's definitely a fair spot for KD, right? He's better than 10 right now. A year from now, I think he could be right in this range of is he still top 10 or not? I think that's definitely fair. KD missed your list entirely.
Yeah. KD's going to go out like Kobe. He's just going to be hurt for the next 4 years.
You think so? Oh, yeah. Cade was on your honorable mentions. That's right. Yeah.
KD would probably go out like Kobe, if I had to guess.
That's kind of...
It's kind of the way it feels. Like with his whole career. It's just the way it kind of feels with KD. I love KD.
Potentially. I hope not. Your number 10 was Jason Tatum, which he's top 10, you know. Definitely a bit. I have Tatum a lot higher.
Good on you.
But yeah, Tatum's number 10. Like I said, Karl Anthony Towns was your number 9. I have Trae Young at number 9. Not terrible.
Solid.
There was a time and point where you could argue Trae Young, is he top 10? He's definitely not top 10, but he's top 20, you know, top 25.
He could be top 10 next year. If he finishes the year like this last month for him.
Could be, like just goes crazy, yeah, and the Hawks, I mean, the Hawks' success definitely plays a lot into it as well.
I definitely looked more into that with making this list of like who's going to be successful in 2028.
For sure. Your number 8 was Zion Williamson.
Oh, no.
No.
But he's like... brink top 25. He's like right on the edge, maybe.
It's so difficult with Zion, man.
Me and you have been. We're the two biggest, and I'm the most on the fence about Zion of anybody
back
ever.
and forth, or yeah. I am too.
I just don't know.
I just don't know.
Like you watch him play, and there's no way to predict whether it works.
Yeah,
long
I had
term.
Zion at number 6, so we both thought that like it's gonna be the time of Zion was coming off his rookie year where he only played like the 19 games or whatever and had a really good sophomore year.
Shot like 65%.
Yeah, like we wouldn't have changed this after his sophomore year either. And then obviously it's just been a difficult to stay healthy for Zion. Yeah. But this year he hasn't been like great, you know, like he hasn't been like he's not the reason why the Pelicans are like a solid team.
No, like he's barely been top 25.
They've just been a good team in general. Like it's not like Ingram is doing crazy either. They've just been good. My number 8 was Ja Morant.
Great.
Think that's totally fair. Yours number 7 was Ja Morant. We both nailed that. Ja Morant obviously was just fresh off of a rookie of the year when we made this list. My number 7 was Nikola Jokic. Low for Jokic.
2020. This is pre any MVP.
This is pre any MVP. Yeah. And your number 6 was Jokic. So you know it's good enough.
We're just saying we know what we're doing. We know what we're doing.
Yeah, good enough for sure. And then my number 6 was Zion, like I stated earlier. So into the top 5. Your number 5 was Trae Young. So a little high for Trae Young, for sure. Definitely never will peak as a top 5 player.
No, I must have really thought he was going to take like Steph Curry's spot.
Right. And this was coming off of, this would have been year 3 for Trae Young. So, I mean, he was this year that they went to the conference finals?
It had to have been.
No, that was after. That was after this. Because that was when the Bucks won the finals. So that was 2021. So that would have been a year after this. My number 5 is Ben Simmons.
Oh, man. You haven't even said Ben Simmons.
Probably the biggest miss of this whole thing. Like him or Amani Bates definitely is. But like Simmons is just the fall off of Ben Simmons. I really don't know if anyone could have predicted. It's been really crazy. And your number 4 is Ben Simmons.
I mean, he still is the future.
No, he's not.
There's a lot of potential there.
No, there's not. Oh, man, it's so bad. Even when he got traded for Harden, it was like, finally, like Simmons he can play again now. Like he's on the Nets, like a new home. No, now he's just one of the worst contracts in the NBA. Kind of just waiting that out. Like, I don't know I have him in Dynasty Basketball, and he's like not a bad fantasy guy because he averages 7 points a game, but he'll get you 8 rebounds and 8 assists. So he's just like Draymond now.
That's what he needs to be. That's what his goal should be, sadly. Right now, his goal should be, I should try to be as good as Draymond was at his peak.
Yeah, which I don't think he can be.
Why? You don't think he can guard up like that?
Not like Draymond. Not anymore.
That's so sad. Like, because you look at the tools, Draymond has nothing in comparison
Simmons
to what Ben
was an all-NBA player and an all-defensive player in like his 3rd year in the NBA. Like probably in this year when we did this draft. Or this,
he's probably 20 years old.
Yeah, like it's oh man, it's just pretty unreal. Okay, so yeah, like I said, your number 4 was Ben Simmons. My number 4 was Anthony Davis. He's not quite top 4. AD didn't really age like we wanted, but I don't know. AD's having a really good year this year, so it's definitely not a terrible thing. You had AD at number 3, so we definitely thought AD would be like face of the league. Not quite, still a brink top 10 player though for sure. My number 3 is Jason Tatum. I had him a little bit higher than you. And then our number 1 and number 2s were flip-flopped. I had Luka at number 1, Giannis at number 2. You had Giannis at number 1, Luka at number 2.
Yeah, we nailed that.
Totally fair for either of those guys, for sure. So that has been the top 25 in 2025. It wasn't like that bad.
No, it wasn't as bad as I honestly thought. We just had a couple of really bad misses. But who's going to be the misses off this list?
Exactly. Hopefully there's less misses.
I can go blow my nose.
Okay, that's fine. So like I said, we're going to be doing our top 28 in 2028. We can talk about our honorable mentions a little bit too, because it's just, you do have to take some shots here. Like, it can't just be strictly all guys that are good right now that you just think in 5 years, hopefully they'll still be good. Like, you do have to do a bit of projecting as well, which can be, that's where you get caught up in missing a good amount.
That's where Monty Bates comes into play.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's all projection.
That's where those guys do. Let's do our honorable mentions first. I think that would be better to do our honorable mentions. I have a good amount of them, but I'm only going to go through the ones that like I really wanted to include and couldn't, but I'll let you go first.
And that's my same way. Lowry Markkanen missed my list. Asar Thompson missed my list. Anthony Simons missed my list.
Simons was a honorable mention.
Scoot Henderson, honorable mention. Shaden Sharp.
Oh,
so the whole
not
Trailblazers.
Blazers, huh?
Well, it's like, where do you put him? Evan Mobley.
Really?
And Mikal Bridges.
You're the big Mobley guy, too.
I'm not anymore. Like, remember, I traded him in Dynasty because I was like, this is who he is.
He got hurt, too, yeah.
This is who, and Mikal Bridges.
I honestly didn't even include him on the big list that I made. Like, I made a big list of like 50-some names and then cut it. Is he just
like a great role player?
Think about, this is kind of how I viewed it. Is he top 25 right now?
No.
Then maybe. No, I don't think he is.
But he's a maybe, is what I'm saying.
But how does his career get better than it is right now? For real.
It won't.
Not saying he's bad, but yeah, I just don't think he has I don't think there's a situation where he becomes top 28. I guess this isn't top 25. Are those your big honorable mentions?
Yep. Those are all
my big ones. Jaylen Brown did not make it. He'll be 32. I think he definitely could.
Oh, JB didn't make my list either.
Really wanted to include Anthony Black. I think he was kind of the guy that I wanted to take a shot on, but he'll only be 24, so it's not. I don't know. Jalen Brunson didn't include him. Bam Adebayo didn't include him. Scotty Barnes, that was a really tough one to leave off.
These are all guys I've also left off.
Okay. Bilal Coulibaly, like I told you, I really wanted to include him.
I love Bilal.
Jalen Duren, didn't include him.
Didn't.
De'Aaron Fox did not make my list. That one was kind of a tough one. He'll be 31. Keegan Murray, his teammate, I really wanted to put him in there. It just didn't make sense. Zion, missed it.
Wow.
Trey Murphy. Oh, I'm so high on Trey Murphy, dude. I think if Trey Murphy's in the right situation, he's going to flourish. Like, he'd be Mikal Bridges level. Like,
I love that.
But I don't know how high of a ceiling it is, so I'm not going to pick him.
You want him in Dynasty?
I used to have him, and
I do have him.
Yeah, because I had Herb and him, and then got rid of
I have both of them.
Yeah, I think I traded them both to you.
Yeah.
Oh, Herb's probably been nice this year.
They're both, well, except for when I just started them, and Trey Murphy had 5. You got to love it.
That's tough. Anthony Davis did not make my list, which is so tough because me and Easton talked about this a little bit beforehand. I had Giannis and Joel both as easy locks, and they're going to be 34 5 years from now. I just did all the ages literally 5 years from today. AD be 35, 1 year older than them. How can I not include AD if I'm including those guys? Easy. AD does have the injuries, but like so does Embiid. But I don't know. Embiid's been relatively healthy.
Embiid's been pretty good.
Years. Yeah. So I don't know. I didn't include AD, and I feel bad about it. Like I feel like because AD is just, I still feel like he's going to be good defensively in 5 years. Probably.
He might be slow though, man. He could be really slow.
He definitely
because he already is like.
Did he make your list?
No, he didn't.
Okay.
AD didn't make.
That makes me feel better.
Yeah.
I really did think about putting Steph still on here, but like he'll be 40.
I thought about it.
I think 40 is like we don't see 40 top 25. Like I don't know if that's ever happened, literally ever.
Bron?
He's not 40 yet.
But next year he will be.
Just wait till then.
Yep, we should. You're right.
The only other guys were all like high school guys currently that I really wanted to include, like Cameron Boozer.
Oh, he's cold.
Is going to be he's 2026 draft. Him and AJ Dabansa both. These guys are both going to be like great prospects in that 2026 draft. So 2026 draft, that'll be their third year in the NBA technically. Well, I guess it could be their second year, like starting in the 2027, 2028 year. I just don't know if they'll quite be top 25 in the NBA.
It's just so quick. There's just nobody right now that's
exactly
second year in.
And then guys
25.
that I thought about including, like we talked about beforehand, Alexander Sarr, Nikola Topic were two guys that I like thought about including, didn't. I do have one guy that is currently in high school that I did include in here, but that is it. Also, Keontae George was the other guy.
Oh, dude, I messed with Keontae.
Thought about, but it's just like he's gonna be 24. Like, it's just early. Like, it really is early to put him in here. So, let's start from the bottom. Started from the bottom. Now we here.
We're still at the bottom.
Top 28 in 2028. Give me your number 28.
We discussed this about number 28 being like the guy you just want to get on the list. My guy that needed to be on my list because I really do think he's the future of the power forward position for this team. Jonathan Kuminga at number 28,
wow.
dude. Give it to me. Give it to me.
That's a crazy one, bro.
Somebody's got to take the leap. Somebody random is going to take a leap. And they're going to be a random player. Like, it's going to be somebody, like, who's the Pascal? Who's Julius Randle? Who's Lowry Markkanen? This is one of those guys for me right now. I think Kuminga can be one of those.
I respect that. Because, like you said, you said Patrick Williams, too, was like a guy you were thinking about for that. Like, it could be him.
Could be. But I like Kuminga a lot more than Patrick Williams.
Yeah.
And, like,
that's fair.
The door is now open. Draymond might never play again. Indefinitely. Like, the suspension is
forever.
Indefinite.
No, they did say it'll be like 3 weeks, I think is what they said. Well, that's how long his like counseling thing is going to be. And so I assume he returns after that. So there'll be 10 to 12-ish games.
But Kuminga might as well take the starting spot anyways.
Yeah.
Like, low-key, probably should be.
He still don't play very much. It's pretty crazy. They got Trace Jackson-Davis.
But he will rant. Yeah,
Trace,
he had a good day. He had a good game the other day.
Okay, my number 28 is a guy that you did not include. I got Scoot Henderson at number 28. Nice. I think Scoot can still, like, I'm not buying into this it's been 25 games, he now sucks thing. Like, I think that he still, it's just early. A guy that I love to compare to, and honestly, it's not similar games, but maybe similar situations. Darius Garland was terrible his rookie year. And from that moment on, it was all the way up for Darius Garland. You could argue that he's top 28 right now. Who really knows? But in 5 years from now, Scoot will be 24. I feel confident that he'll be in the top 28. So I slid him in here at 28.
He just really looks terrible. Like, his tape is bad.
Yeah.
Everything looks wrong.
I say there's another guy on his team that I'm higher than him.
Gotcha. Like Simons.
Definitely not Simons.
Oh, like Sharp.
Yeah. Number 27.
My number 27 is Tyrese Maxey, the breakout player this year. I just don't know how much, and this is all my projection, obviously. I don't know where he goes from here. I don't know what the next step of his game is, to where he becomes even better than he is
right now.
Right now, I think his peak is a 30-point per game, pure scorer with a decent little passing. That's pretty good. But who knows whether that happens in 2028. That might come 2 years after 2028 that happens. Tyrese Maxey's really, really good, but I think he is also a product of a great situation right now.
Right,
and playing with Joel Embiid, all the attention's on him. Easy guy to get your assists with, all of it. I think it really helps.
Do you think that his ceiling is can he reach a Donovan Mitchell?
Yeah.
Then he definitely would be in this top 28.
Yeah,
which I think is totally fair. I also have Maxey in here, not quite at 27. My number 27 is Asar Thompson. I know he's on the Pistons, and the Pistons suck, and it's Pistons bias. Shut up. I don't care. Asar is that good, and I still I love his, the the future for Asar Thompson. Like, he already can do so many things so well. And I even think that the shooting thing isn't even like the thing that I'm like not most worried about, but like if he can just even develop not his playmaking, he's a good playmaker. His handle in general. His handle right now is a bit it's loose. You know, it's
Nobody
he
likes
doesn't
the
have
loose
the
handle.
greatest handle ever. So if he can, I think that needs to be the first thing he really starts to hone in, because his little like mid range like fadeaway game I think actually has been like nice. He obviously just can't shoot threes, which isn't ideal, but he's a great cutter. If the spacing is there for him, which we can talk about that another day with the Pistons, obviously. I think there's a world where like Jalen Duren ain't like in the future if you wanna utilize Asar to his full potential.
Yeah.
That's if
you need a shooting big,
it's a conversation to have.
Yeah, I mean, if you really want to, change your franchise around Andre Roberson, Asar Thompson.
Asar is my number 27. 26.
My number 26 is Karl Anthony Towns.
Really? Okay.
I don't really know where he goes. I think this is who he is, and I think who he is is
an interesting one.
I think he'll be a really good player on a really good team, but I think it'll be his teammates who get the love. I think his teammates will get the top players in the league type of love.
Like Gobert.
No, not that teammate.
So, you're saying teammates. Who's the other?
Oh, well, I was just talking.
Yeah,
I'm just chit-chatting and yapping.
Nas Reed.
Nas Reed is the guy.
Dude, that could have been the guy to peak.
Oh, dude.
Get him on a different squad, bro.
He is Julius Randle.
Yeah, I don't mind that Cat pick, though. I mean, I can see his game aging a bit. No, he's not. And I didn't include him as honorable mention either.
I mean, he'll be like, what, 32?
Yeah, probably
like
right
in his prime, at the end of his prime, like he'll probably be really efficient.
Yeah, he definitely could be. My number 26 is Tyrese Maxey. I kind of think all the same things as you. I think he could just be an elite scorer, and at that high of a level, I think it's top 28.
Yep. My number 25 is Jalen Williams of the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think he's an awesome guy. I think he does everything super well, and I think he's the modern NBA wing. I think he does everything. Maybe a modern NBA point guard, like eventually. I could see J-Dub.
He does a lot of ball handling for them.
I think he could be eventually like, oh, we're going to, a team goes out and says, we want him to run our point guard. That's the guy. I could see that happening in J-Dub's career.
My number 25 is actually also J-Dub, which is really crazy. Yeah, I love J-Dub. Like, he is... And he was a guy that actually coming off his rookie year, I wasn't necessarily as high on him as everyone else. Like, I definitely like he had a really good rookie season. I loved him coming out of the draft. And then his rookie year, he was really good. But I definitely was like, I didn't think he had like superstardom.
Yep.
But so far this season, watching him, it's like, okay, like, yes, he does. Like, he definitely does. He is so good finishing around the rim. Like, it is actually unreal. That trio that they have in OKC is crazy. Josh Giddey is obviously like, I saw so I looked up, The Ringer did a top 20, like predicting the All-Stars in 2028 article, but it was made at the beginning of 2023 in like April or March or something.
It had Giddey.
It had like Bronny James. It had Cameron Boozer on it, which like it's just kind of crazy. Like he'll be in year 2 All-Star, like that don't be happening very often. But I thought it was kind of funny that Giddey was on there because how just from now till then, like it's only been 6 months and everything has changed, and not even in like don't even count all the shit that's going on with him off the court.
Just count the basketball.
Just the basketball stuff. Like he just like don't even close out games for them anymore.
For real, give me Isaiah Joe.
Yeah, for real, definitely. Okay, number 24.
Number 24. Rest in peace, Kobe. This is Cade Cunningham. This is where I have Cade sliding in.
Like that spot.
I think it's a healthy spot for him. I don't think it's shooting too high, and I don't think we're shooting too low. I don't know. Cade.
I think he's still. I agree. I think he's still a top 28 player in 5 years from now.
Me too.
I would hope so.
It's
probably on a different team.
And I'm being so somber and quiet, so I don't seem like when we go back in 5 years and listen to this. Well, in 3 years, because we're gonna jump the gun.
Oh yeah, sure.
We can't wait that long. I don't want to be the guy that was like, "Oh, Cade."
Yeah, exactly.
If he's really bad,
Cade. Okay, my number
24
is Lauri Markkanen. I think Lowry's game ages well. That's my prediction.
The marksman.
Number 23,
Trae Young. Going to be an undersized guard at this time, end of his peak. Probably at this point, right? He's 26.
He'll be 30.
Oh, so he'll be in the middle of his peak. I think, in all honesty, as we get more and more into basketball in the playoffs, we're just going to realize that his size is going to deter the Hawks from getting or from any team that has Trae Young led from doing a lot in the playoffs. I think we're really starting to see the size thing be a huge factor. We haven't seen a small team win a finals in forever. Well, maybe, I don't know, Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet were a small backcourt.
But it's different because those guys like are big for how their height is.
For real.
You know, like Kyle Lowry obviously is a big dude.
Yeah, with ass.
Yeah, exactly. He got that. Yeah, I think that Trae Young, like, I also just think he's going to average 25 and 10 for like 10 more years. You know,
and I think
like that's probably still top 28. Like as much as we could say like hot take, I don't think he's a number one option on a winning team. Doesn't mean he's not top 28.
For real.
You know.
For real.
My number 23, right?
Yep.
I have Brandon Miller as my number 23.
B. Millie.
I like B. Millie. I still think that and I have him higher than Scoot, which is crazy to think about, you know, just because all the talk pre-draft and everything. Yeah, I got B. Millie at number 23. I'm really high on him still. I think that he can be a great player next to LaMelo Ball. Obviously, LaMelo Ball just got injured again, which sucks. But yeah, I'm high on Brandon Miller. He'll be 26 in 5 years. You know, kind of right going into that prime potentially. I like Brandon Miller, so he's number 23.
At 22, I got Swipe of the Fox.
Okay.
I was shocked to actually see you not have him.
I know.
Just because I really do think he's like so elite of the shot making and you know, clutch player of the year, and he did it in dominating fashion. And that's where I think that like translates over time. I think that, but do I really believe that? Because that, you know, saying it, it's like, you know who else was the most clutch player in the league 2 years ago?
Reggie Jackson.
DeMar DeRozan. I wasn't thinking of Reggie Jackson. Like, not even.
If they had a clutch player of the year award in 2015, Reggie Jackson wins that bitch. Seriously, bro.
Was he that good?
I think he led the NBA in clutch scoring one year.
That's
which
awesome.
Is like it's like last 2 minutes
Within
of game
10.
or whatever. Yeah. Like he did that.
You're right. That was the guy.
King
I was
of the fourth quarter,
too.
Reggie Jackson. Okay, yeah. My number 22 is my only high school player. I have Cooper Flagg as my number 22. I just tried to do the mental, like, in 2028, Cooper Flagg will be a 2025 draft prospect. So that will be 2025, 26 is his first year, 26, 27 his second year, 27, 28 is his third year. By year 3, I think he could be this good.
I can see that.
So that's kind of where I'm at. And maybe if we're going to the end of 2028, you know, and start of year 4, he'll be here. It sucks that the Pistons decided to be the worst team in the NBA years between generational draft classes, between Wembanyama and Cooper Flagg. It's very sad times.
It's pretty awesome.
But yeah, I think Cooper Flagg, I mean, he's just that guy. If you don't know who he is, go watch his mixtape. I mean, he is just an absolute bucket getter, and he's like 6'10" doing it. And it's like, wow, this guy's good. Get him at Duke and get him in a college training program, which he probably already is in some crazy training program anyway, whatever AAU team he plays for. But he is going to be a beast. He already is a beast. So, yeah, he's number 22.
Yeah, Cooper Flagg would be the high schooler that I should have put on here. And I wasn't even thinking. Like, I couldn't figure out who was the high schooler, but it's Cooper.
And I originally also had Alexander Sarr on here and Cam Boozer, as I said, but I had to cut him. I was like, I just can't go too crazy with it.
For real. We don't want to end up like last one.
Yeah, exactly.
My number 20 is DG, the PG, Darius Garland.
21.
Oh, 21. Can you do something? Yeah, okay, I can. And 21 is Alfred Sengun.
Ooh, I love it.
Sengun's a beast, man. It's baby Jokic. But eventually he might. I mean, they're saying he's 7'1" now. He might be big Jokic. They said he grew 2 inches. He's huge on the floor. I love Sengun's game. I think he plays the game beautifully. Everything works with him, and I think he only continues to get better and better as he gets more comfortable doing less. And what I mean is like the way he scores. He's not like figuring out like, oh, I can just jab and pull up in your face, and you can't stop me.
Right.
And like as he continues to make the game easier for himself, he's only going to get better.
My number 21 is the brother of Asar Thompson, Amen Thompson. I'm higher on Amen than I am Asar, which sucks because Asar is on my team.
That really sucks.
I think Amen is he has the same defensive tools as Asar Thompson. We just aren't seeing it a lot, and Houston doesn't get as much of a role. He's also been injured. He has a better handle. He's a bit of a better playmaker than Asar is. And coming into the draft, it was like, well, Asar is a better shooter. Is he?
No.
I can't see it being much worse for Amen. So Amen is my number 21. They're both still here. Like, I'm still extremely high on both of these guys. Like, they are freak of nature athletes and defend at such a high level and are smart offensive basketball players. Like, very high IQ.
They're big.
Great motors as well. They're big. Like, I really love both of their games. So he's there. You said you had Darius Garland at your number 20, correct?
Yep.
I'll just say my number 20 then. Garland didn't make my list, which I definitely thought about it. I have Shaedon Sharpe at number 20, man.
Nice.
I love Shaedon Sharpe. He'll be 25 years old here. I have a lot of younger guys towards the bottom of this list. But, man, Sharpe is just a bucket, and also he just gets up there. Like, when he's playing well, which in that Pistons game early in the year, that was the reason that the Pistons blew that game. That was the start of the losing streak, actually. That was the first game of the losing streak because Shaedon Sharpe went brazy in that fourth quarter. When he is hitting step-back threes and everything, he is so difficult to guard because he can blow by anyone, and you don't want to contest his drives to the hoop.
No.
So when he's knocking down the shot, it's very difficult. I think he's averaging close to 20 points per game this year for Portland. And I see a big jump coming from him in the next couple of years. By 2028, I think he's a top 20 player.
I don't think that's a bad pick at all.
Yeah, that was kind of the guy I like a shot a little bit on.
Yep.
For sure. Top 20, number 19.
My number 19 is Zion Williamson. I think he could very easily just find his way into being a guaranteed top 25 his whole career, but always being towards the bottom.
Yeah, I didn't include him, but I definitely could see it for sure. Trae Young is my number 19, who you had on earlier.
My number 18 is the guy I'm taking the biggest shot on. This is the star in his role currently, but I think it can grow into something much, much bigger.
Can I guess?
Yeah.
Wait, what position?
Power forward. He's a big wing.
East or West?
West.
Like right now, West?
Right now, West. What else would I base?
Wait, like does he like he's like
in the West right now?
But like he plays, or is he like a young
He's
dude
a player.
that don't play?
This guy plays, but he's a star in his role right now.
Oh, I don't think I know then. Go ahead and tell me.
Jaden McDaniels.
Oh, okay. I like that.
That's fun, dude.
I'm a fan of that.
Dude, you put him on some, who knows where his career goes, but he's going to get a Duffy at some point for being
he got paid by Minnesota this offseason.
That's going to be perfect.
Yeah.
Like, his role needs to continue to grow because I really do think he can blossom.
So that was the guy when you said his teammates.
Yes, I did say teammates. Yes. But I didn't want to give it away.
No, I like that. That's fun.
And that's why I think Cat falls down. I think we see McDaniels is actually him. Is McDaniels the 3 then? I guess he's technically a 3.
Yes, he's technically a 3, but I mean he's
probably a 4.
He's 6'10".
Yeah.
In an ideal offense, he probably plays the 4. Yeah,
for sure.
Matt is like the biggest. Matt Griffin is like the biggest Jaden McDaniels.
He'll love
fan
that pick
of all time.
He will love that.
He probably would agree with it. What number is this? 18.
18.
I have Cade at 18. Little bit higher than you.
That's a little biased.
It's a little biased. I think Cade will be better than Trae Young in 5 years, and that's why because I had Trae Young at 19. And I have Cade at 18. So
I have them back to back, so it worked out for me.
17.
I would say the rest of my list I think is pretty normal.
That's kind of I think from here on out, like this is where it kind of gets easy. Personally,
my 17 is Donovan Mitchell.
Okay,
what a stud, what a beast.
I
think he's gonna be the same guy.
Mm-hmm. Definitely one of the older guys on the list by this time. He'll be 32. My number 17, I have Evan Mobley at 17.
Nice.
I still think he's gonna age very well. He's we know what he is defensively. It sucks he's injured, but he'll be 27 in 5 years. I like it.
Number 16, I have Franz Wagner. What a beast, man, for the Magic.
I didn't include him.
Wow.
I thought
shocking.
he was on my honorable mentions, but
I think he's I think once he gets to 23 points a game, he's with his defensive versatility, I think he just becomes an instant lock.
I really thought about it, man. It's so hard with him. My number 16 is Şengün. So yeah, I definitely.
I'm shocked you didn't have Franz. You're a bigger Franz guy than I am.
I like Franz. I just don't know if he peaks that high. I can still like a guy and just be a little realistic on I don't think he's a top 20 player in the NBA.
That's a good point. I just think about
he could be though. I'm not saying he's not.
What doesn't help is I watched the World Cup and it's he's legit as hell for that Germany team. That team's so good.
If they played the World Cup instead of the NBA, he'd be top 20.
Definitely, 1,000%. But that's also because there's
just FIBA
10 Americans sitting on a bench that don't ever play.
Yeah, exactly. I had Şengün at 16 though, so top 15.
15, Bam Adebayo. think he'll be really good, really solid.
Dude, and
still.
that was a guy who was like, how can he not? Like, he'll be 31, I think, in 5 years.
He's going to be prime.
That's not even old.
No, it's not even old. And, like, majority of the top 25 right now is 30.
And that was the hard part, leaving him off. But I think that there's just other centers, like Şengün, Mobley.
I don't think Mobley will overtake Bam in 5 years.
You don't never know.
I know, but like I just really think like the same way the Cade and Trae Young thing. I don't think Mobley can surpass Bam in like these 5 years. Maybe when Mobley is 30, and obviously Bam at that point is
34,
36, 34, whatever he is. I think maybe then, but like I don't see it while they're in their peaks.
Yeah, I get that. My number 15 is Franz Wagner's teammate Paolo Banchero.
Nice.
I think Paolo Banchero, like, he's been so good this year. Like, he really is. He doesn't really shoot threes like that much. He's kind of, he went to that stint last year where he didn't shoot threes at all. But he's just been getting buckets, and he's a part of a great defensive team. Definitely not like the best defensive player on that team, but he still has a defensive identity. So yeah, I got him at number 15.
Yeah, I love my rest of my list. Like, for real, I keep looking at it, and it's like I think I nailed it.
Yeah.
But like the time machine helps. Like, I feel like I shouldn't have used it. You should have ruled it out.
I should have.
So I apologize.
It's a good point.
I'm ruining the next few years for you guys. Number 14, I have LaMelo Ball.
Hey, I have LaMelo. Nope, I don't.
He lied.
He's 13.
Oh, he lies. You never trust people you hear on the radio.
LaMelo's that boy.
LaMelo is.
Yeah.
Apparently 13. Apparently he's good enough to be 13.
He's way better than 14 for sure. 14 for me is Donovan Mitchell. So I have him a little bit higher than you. I just think I don't see how he just like falls off. I think he's gonna stay in like the 10 to 20 range for 10 years. Probably.
Me too.
Kind of like
why
how
would he
Trae
fall
Young
out?
is. Yeah,
and that's what I think. Like Donovan Mitchell's one of those guys that you put anywhere and he's good.
Yeah,
like literally anywhere.
And
he
will be somewhere else in a couple years
for sure.
The Cavs, respect to the Cavs for taking a chance on Donovan Mitchell. He gone though.
He's gone.
Yeah.
Number 13, Paolo Banchero.
Yep.
Dude's beast.
Just a couple spots higher than me. You can say you're 12 too, because I had LaMelo at 13.
Oh, yep. My number 12 is Ja Morant.
Okay. Ooh.
Like, this guy's a beast.
Not top
really
10, huh?
No, man. There's so many better guards.
But you had him
than
top like 6 in the top 5 in 2025.
But like he's gonna be older then, and like maybe he loses.
He's 29 though.
Maybe he loses a step, man. You know all those athletic guards get. I mean, that was probably Russ's MVP.
29.
When was Russ an MVP? How old was he?
He was 2017, so that was what, 6 years ago. Yeah, probably like 28, 20, probably 27, 28.
So Ja will be in his prime, but still, dude, you look at the guards above him and they're just better right now and future-wise.
I disagree.
Respect.
Mainly because my number 12 is Tyrese Halliburton.
Dude, come on. You know you couldn't do that while I'm sitting here as the biggest Reese fan in the world.
I'm not saying I don't like Tyrese Halliburton. I think
you put him at 12 is you saying you don't like him and don't think he's very good.
I don't think he peaks as high as Ja Morant,
Respect.
like in their careers. By the way, bro, shout out to Ja Morant last night, bro, for coming back, hitting the game. Like, Ja is different, bro. Like, I've been riding with Ja, like, because when he had all that shit going on, it's funny to make fun of guys when stuff is going on, for sure. Like, it definitely is. But, like, the more and more I thought about it, I was like, dude, everybody's trying to put Ja in this box of, like, he's this tyrant off the court and he can't handle himself and he is not here for the stardom. He's here for the stardom, bro. Mm-hmm. Like, he is that good.
Yeah, he never enters a gym without a fully loaded clip.
This is what I'm saying. You're adding to it. Like, I think Ja, like, I just spoiled where I have Ja. But, like, I think you could have Ja as the best guard in the NBA at one point. Like, better than Shea, better than Edwards. Like, it could be. I don't, but, like I think Ja could win an MVP.
I think so, too. I think Ja's good enough to win an MVP.
As the 12th best player in the NBA?
Not in 2028. Maybe 2029.
You just said he was be too old in 2028. What?
No, but I see what you're saying. I do believe he could be an MVP.
But Halliburton, number 12, like, I will say, Halliburton, I think eventually, because he's new to the scene, right? Yeah. Guys that are new to the scene, fans eat that shit up. They love him, dude.
Me.
Give it a year, and he gets the Trae Young treatment. Like, oh, yeah, he's doing it all on offense, but how much is he giving up on defense? You know, that'll happen.
That's fair. You're not wrong.
Because he's a horrid defender.
He's bad.
But the whole team is, so I don't know like necessarily how bad he is.
It's almost like it's part of their identity.
Exactly. Like they just kind of have a thing where it's like, we don't really defend. We just want to score.
Yep.
Which like, if that's your thing, it can be your thing. It's never going to like work.
No,
but
it doesn't
like,
work.
I guess it can be your thing. But I feel like Tyrese gets the Trae Young treatment in like if they make the playoffs and lose, it starts there.
Yeah, definitely.
And he's in that spot with Trae until like he does something.
Yeah, that's a good point. No, I think that's a fair comparison as well. The Trae Young, Tyrese Halliburton comparison.
Right.
I just think he's going to beat those allegations.
I hope he does.
Yeah.
Because I'm a huge fan of Tyrese as well.
For sure.
Number 11.
My number 11 is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Okay.
Absolute bucket getter. Nothing's going to change because it's not like he does anything.
That's kind of low, bro. 11?
Dude, I don't think so, man. I'm looking at this list.
Shai would be 30, like in the midst of it.
Dude, I think Shai fits in here at 11. If we did a full graphic, you'd see it.
Bad. It's not bad, but like
I see what you're saying. And Shai's another guy. You know what? I think he can win an MVP.
Oh, duh!
In these next
Shai
5
could
years,
win MVP this year.
Yeah, for real. But like that doesn't make him like
Shai
automatically
is definitely
top 10.
like one of the most like he's a top 5 guy that hasn't won an MVP in the NBA right now. Like that has a chance to win one.
Like yeah, right now.
Yes.
He's top 5. Yes.
What was I just gonna say? I can't remember.
Maybe something about Shai being low. But Shai, the thing about Shai is like he's gonna be top like 15 for the next 10 years.
Is he top 11 right? Like is he better than 11 right now if we were to rank guys? Like according to you?
I
Yes.
probably. You think? Yeah, I probably would.
So you think he gets worse? Or you
I think these other guys get better.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, that's fair.
I've got quite a few young guys who are better than him.
Yes, which definitely I can see that. My number 11 is a guy I kind of had a little bit of trouble ranking, and if I'm way off than you here, I could see it. I have Joel Embiid as number 11.
Not way off.
I was
me.
kind of tough with like I think he'll still be. I just don't think he'll be like winning MVPs and shit. Like you could say he's number 1 in the NBA right now.
He'll be what, 34?
He'll be 34.
Yeah.
Yes. So I have him at number 11. Like I think we'll start to see the decline in 2028 with Embiid.
I agree.
But like we said, he really hasn't had the injury problems since like the beginning of his career.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's really been pretty good, other than injury here and there.
Yeah.
But he recovers fully every time.
He does. He's having probably the best year of his career right now.
Unreal.
And he won the MVP last year.
There's like 9 guys who were in the MVP race last year that are having their best years of their career
which
this
is
year.
Insane. So our top 10 right now, I think we like know because are Halliburton and Embiid in your top 10?
Yep.
Okay, so then the 2 guys that I said, Shai and Ja, are in my top 10. So I think we know each other's top 10.
Yeah.
Unless we just each have a guy that we both forgot or something.
I don't think so. I think you'll have a very similar list to me at this point.
Okay, number 10.
My number 10 is D-Book.
I also have Book at number 10.
Shout out D-Book, man.
Yeah.
He is just like, he's not going anywhere.
Nah, he's
you might as well
32.
get used to him.
He's one of the older guys in this top 10, but yeah, he's right around top 10 right now. I think he stays there for 5
and
years.
he's fully made the transition into a full-time point guard.
Yeah, which is awesome.
It's so cool. Let's put more big guys at point guard.
And he probably does that like for a while, at least on this team.
Definitely.
Specifically.
Definitely. My number 9 is Joel Embiid.
Okay.
Had him right around the same spot you did. Well, number 11. I think you're right. I think 34. He seems like a guy that age will get to him.
Yes.
Just with the amount of banging he does.
He is one of, if not the most physical players in the entire NBA.
Yeah, he's always banging down there.
Yeah, he's always banging dudes, front and behind.
Yeah, I mean, like front door, and he loves to use the back door.
All right, too far. My number 9 is Ja. We kind of already discussed Ja. So number 8.
My number 8 is a guy that I think I'll actually catch a lot of flack for because I think this guy is now getting overhyped. My number 8 is Anthony Edwards. I think Ant is a top 10
Like you think you're
player.
getting flack for having him too low?
Yeah. I think I'd get flack for having him too low.
I think that's fine.
I think Ant is going to be this. I could see like a peak of just like being the most elite scorer in the NBA type of thing. But the issue is a lot of these other guys are also incredible at that, and I think can be better than Ant at that elite scoring level. He's been doing a lot more on the defensive end this year, and honestly, this Timberwolves success just if they keep going like he's going to be higher than number 8 if this team keeps. The success continues for 3-4 years.
My number 8 is Victor Wembanyama. Could be low, But it'll also be 24. Like, it's still early for Wembanyama in 2028. So I think 8 is a fair spot. And I have, like, kind of the hot take with putting the other guy above him. But, I think that Wembanyama is going to be pretty good.
How old is Luka right now?
Right now he is 24, so the same age as Vic.
And he's not 7'5".
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's part of what Vic is like, you see the clips of all the times where Wembanyama is open for lobs and they're just not throwing it to him because they don't even realize.
Like, get a PG.
Like, and just like start throwing it towards the hoop. Watch what he does.
Let's make it a little bit more simple here.
Yeah.
You know? He will probably catch it.
And like, have you seen the ones where he'll finish the lob without the pass?
Pretty crazy, yeah. Your number 8 or 7?
My number 7 is Tyrese Halliburton.
Okay.
This is where he fits in. I think eventually he could be the best point guard in the NBA. You know, I've said this. I think he runs the best offense in the NBA in terms of flow and fluidity. I think it's the most beautiful thing to watch.
Yeah.
Pacers basketball right now. It's unbelievable.
My number 7 is Chet Holmgren.
Nice.
Chet is like a freaking dog. Like,
he's a dog.
9 blocks in a game as a rook. Pretty dumb crazy.
For real.
Chet is like, he's so good. He's only going to continue to get better. I know that technically, like, he'll be 2 years older than Vic. In 2028, he'll be 26. But like, this guy is going to win multiple depoys. Him and Vic will compete for them. But Chet's got the edge on him right now. If you ask me, Chet's the rookie of the year right now, and he probably has been all year. Like, as much as I, say Vic is like not been, he's been great. Like he's having a great rookie year. Chet's just been that crazy good. So he's my number 7.
I totally agree with the Chet everything. I don't know if this is with you, but I find a trend here. As we got into the top 10, I have 2 guys. How tall is Tyrese Halliburton?
Probably like 6'5".
I have 0 guys under 6'5" in my top 10. How many guys do you have under 6'5" in your top 10? I doubt you have. Ja.
Number 9. Is Shea 6'5"? I think he's like 6'4", 6'5".
But like, you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's a tall league,
guys.
dude.
Yeah.
It's a tall league from here on. I mean,
but like, then you have like the Steph Currys of the world. Like, they're still the guys.
For real. Yeah. They're occasional, but I think the battle for the top will be held by big guys for the rest of ever.
Yes.
My number 6 is Victor Wembanyama.
Okay.
Shout out to GOAT, man.
Yeah.
Future GOAT.
Probably. My number 6 is Ant. So I have Ant
Nice.
just a couple spots higher than you.
Nice.
Top 5.
This is the important stuff. My number 5 is Luka Doncic.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, Luka.
Wow.
I've talked about my.
But the top 5 is definitely like year-to-year basis.
For real. And I do talk about my worry of the play style that Luka brings along with him. The slow it down offense into pick and rolls. I just don't know how sustainable that is to like win an NBA championship.
Right.
Not saying it can't be done once,
and it definitely has to be
great.
I think it is less on Luka, and it's like the pieces around Luka have to like make sense.
Yep.
They have to have good defenders. They have to have other guys that can take pressure off. They have to have shooting. And that their team right now, and since Luka's been in, hasn't had a combination of all those things.
No, it's never been a well-built team.
It's hard to do all of those things, while also having Luka making $50 million. So
yeah, and like getting you 50 wins every year, so you get terrible draft picks.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it doesn't work out.
But maybe Lively can, be their guy that can kind of help that defense solidify a little bit over the years. My number 5 is Shea. I have Shea a bit higher than you. I just think that Shea is like the next Michael Jordan.
Really?
Like just the way he gets his buckets. Like, I'm not saying in terms of like he's gonna win
Success.
6 rings.
You say it's just odd to have Michael Jordan at 5.
Like, the dude plays like MJ.
Yeah, the pull ups, the middies.
Like, you can't stop him. Like, he's gonna score in the mid range and at the hoop efficiently, and you can try to stop him, and he's gonna take over any given game on any given night. Like, he is that good. And I think a lot of people want to give Sam Presti a lot of like hype for like getting all these picks, and that's why OKC is like, I'm not taking away from Sam Presti here. I actually am giving him praise. It's less of like how he got all these picks and like this is crazy draft usage. Like, no, it's the fact that Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, you turned him into a super duper star.
For real.
It's more of that. Like, you can have all them picks as you want, and you can draft all these dudes, but if none of them turn into a superstar, it doesn't mean shit.
Mm-hmm.
when one of them that you didn't even draft that you traded for is a stud and is better than Paul George ever was.
That's what I was going to say.
That's what it's more about, you know?
And that's what I was going to say. Like, the fact that you got the picks, but before you even got the picks, you got the player.
You could have traded Paul George for Shea straight up, and it still would have worked.
We would have gotten here, and we would have went, yep, made sense.
Because guess what? You still draft Chet Holmgren with your own pick. Like, none of them picks they got have even, like, been, J-Dub, I think, was kind of, that was not their own pick. But, like, that's what I'm saying.
We'll see it more, but, like, you're still
Shea.
in position. Yeah,
you have Shea. So, like, that's all you needed. Top 4.
Top 4. My number 4 is Giannis Antetokounmpo.
I also have Giannis.
What, 34 at this age?
Yes.
What an absolute beast Giannis is going to be. Just going to be so dominant. He's just like, I loved, and I didn't know how realistic it was. I loved the Shaq comparisons he got like 2 years ago.
Right.
It just works.
Dominant paint scorer.
It just works because that's all Giannis still is.
Right, yeah.
It's just this beast in the middle that you cannot stop.
16 assists last night, though. I didn't see Shaq doing none of that.
No, Shaq overrated.
Yeah, Giannis is my number 4, too.
My number 3 is Chet Holmgren. Wow. You didn't realize I had him this high.
Over Giannis.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I think what's funny is I was kind of
Shea.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've got like Chet up there. I think Chet is just so like everything he does on the floor is the right way and it's beautiful. Like defensively, he is just on 9 blocks. Are you kidding me?
And it's like I think it will eventually tone itself down because it's a lot of people like, you know, as a rookie, it's like, oh, I see he got 4 blocks the other night. Like, I'm going to go at like he ain't blocking my shit.
And then it's like,
and then he does. So, like, once he really, which he is earning that reputation right now.
They're going to start avoiding him, like getting Rudy.
Exactly.
Just passing around him.
Yes.
But my fear is like in 2028 or 2027, 2026, when we go back and look at this, one of Chet and Wemby is going to be Kristaps Porzingis.
Hey, but to you, that's a top 25 player still.
Yeah, but they're not top 7.
Yeah, they're not third best player.
That's what I'm saying. One of Chet or Wemby.
I don't think so. I disagree.
You don't think so? You think they're too good at ball handlers?
Like, I think that they also just don't. I think it was kind of clear that Porzingis was just going to become not an offensive hub. Like he was, like, you know, like there never really was signs of that.
Dude, in New York, I thought he was like the future.
Like he was
yamming on
He was
dudes.
good, but I don't think there was ever a word where it's like, yeah, this guy is just like gonna be like everything is run through him, and he just is the number 1 scorer. Like I feel like there was never really signs of that. It was more of like this guy blocks a lot of shots and can knock down threes, and he moves well for a 7'3" guy, which we don't see that very often. Whereas Chet kind of like
knock down shots. Block shots.
I don't know. I still disagree.
I disagree too. I meant 3.
I think Wemby is more likely to be that than Chet is.
All I'm saying is that one of them I think will be like that. That's all I'm saying. And you agree. You kind of agree.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I still have them at 3 and 6.
Yes.
Like I don't think that it's really going to happen, but I think there's a very high chance it could. Just covering my ass in the future.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. I respect that. I have Jokic at number 3.
Nice.
I think Jokic might just fall off a little bit to number 3. He'll be 33 by then. But who knows? He might retire by then. You see, he's in a commercial. They put him in a commercial, yeah.
Well, they put him in Subway.
It's an NBA commercial with like a whatever their official hotel sponsor is, like Hotel Trivago or something.
Yep.
It's like him and Peyton Watson like at the pool, and he's just like, "Hey Peyton, that's the bench." Or the pool is like the NBA sideline. That's the bench. And he was like, who sits on the bench? He's like, not me. And then Peyton Watson like sits in the pool with his feet in the water. And he's like sitting there all depressed, like on the bench. And Jokic just like chilling in like this crazy spot.
But why did they get an actual bench guy to go in there? Like Peyton Watson's for real a bench guy.
Yeah, I think that's why they did it.
Like, how did he get into a commercial?
I know, it's pretty funny. Okay, top 2.
My number 2 is Jason Tatum.
My number 2 is also Jason Tatum.
My number 1 is Nikola Jokic.
I have Luka at number 1. So
nice, Luka. Yeah, I have Jokic because like he's a bruiser, and like I don't think the shot making, the passing is ever going to go anywhere. Right. And like, who cares?
If the bruising goes away a little bit, he's still gonna have everything else.
He's still got it. He'll be good.
Yeah, I agree. Well, thank you guys for listening to our top 28 in 2028. Once again, thanks to Easton for coming back to the show. We're going to have him back on at some point over this break to do another Jeopardy episode for sure. So I appreciate you coming back on. As always, check us out on everything else. And we're out.
Peace.
Peace.